Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, today's video, we are going to be talking about the Caernarvon. This tank was buffed massively in update 8.5, and is now a very good tank. Before, this tank was just decent. I played through it, I thought it wasn't horrible, but now this tank is much better, and for one reason. Wargaming made the DPM on this tank insane. So, they changed the DPM on this gun here. So, the tank originally had, as you can see, it has now 225 alpha damage, but before I believe it had 190. That's another 35 alpha damage per shot, and no other changes to anything, which brought the DPM up to almost just shy of 3,000. And I believe if I do this, does that get it above 3,000 if I switch these out? It does. So you can actually get the DPM above 3,000 on this tank if you put on the right provisions for this tank. So yeah, that is the highest DPM tier 8 heavy, and that's a lot of DPM. And it made this tank quite good. So we're going to have some replays here of this tank, and you'll just see how well this tank, it just shreds through the enemy team. It's a world of difference from when this tank was before. Before, you're barely rolling in the 200s ever. Now, you really never roll below 200. You're rolling those low 200s, like 210 to like 230, basically every single shot. Sometimes you're getting up to like 240, 250. And in a tank with a 4.5 second reload, that is really good. Now, this tank obviously is compared to the Caernarvon Action X. Of course, that is the premium version of this tank. That tank, actually, you are currently able to get for free if you do watch all the Blitz Cup streams. That is probably the tank I will be getting, actually, tomorrow from all the Blitz Cup streams and all that stuff. I will probably be getting the Action X tomorrow, so there will be a review on that. But this tank, obviously, is compared to that tank because it's literally the Caernarvon Action X, the premium version. In this tank, the main differences are this tank is a little bit chunkier, or maybe it's a little stronger, I don't know actually. It has worse armor, and it is a little slower. And before, I believe it had worse DPM, I'm not quite sure. But basically, the main difference, the Caernarvon has an amazing turret that has space armor on it, great turret, better frontal plate, and better side armor than this tank. As well, it goes around 3 kilometers an hour faster, but that's not a major difference by any means. But mainly, it has much better armor. So now, basically, the difference between these two tanks are the other one has really good armor, and this one has a really good gun. Now, the gun on the Caernarvon Action X is also an extremely good gun, just as well. Not quite as high DPM. I believe it's 2,700, 2,800 DPM or so, I believe. So a little less DPM now, but it is still probably a better tank because it, of course, just has such good armor and can still shred through those enemy tanks with a really good gun. So it's still a better tank, but this tank is much better than it was before. You would never roll 259 in this tank before. Like, the alpha difference on this tank has made this, it's a world of difference for this tank here. It has changed a lot. Never would I think that I could just bulldoze through two tier 8 premium, or 2 tier 8 medium tanks with ease in the Caernarvon before. But yeah, you definitely can in the Caernarvon now. Just look at this guy. We're perma-tracking him. That is a great thing this tank can do. Perma-tracking in a tank with this sort of reload is amazing. You see right there, he just got absolutely demolished. 1,500 HP gone in a matter of seconds. So yeah, definitely make sure to perma-track when you have this tank if you're playing it, because it will help you a lot. You'll be able to catch people with their rears facing you, with them maybe just stuck out where they can't even shoot you, but they're just stuck there where you can perma-track them. And yeah, it is really amazing. So we do mess up a lot of shots right here. I really should have aimed these in. I don't know why I was trying to no-scope those shots, but I was like, yeah, I need to aim in. And so we're now going to finally start hitting our shots here on this T-32. And you can see, just look at that reload. You just bulldoze through these medium tanks, and it is quite good. And you can still see the tank is quite a fast, heavy tank still. There's a Caernarvon over there. You can see the front plate armor profile is decent. It's nothing insane, though. Same for the turret. It's really just an okay armor profile. Nothing great, nothing horrible. But yeah, I mean, almost 4,000 damage this game. That is quite a good game for a tier 8, I would say, and it was quite a lot of fun to play, and it was very easy to farm up this much damage. And you would never be able to do something so easy like this in the Caernarvon before. I mean, sure, you could still do quite well in it, but it would have taken way longer to take out all those targets before. I mean, 3,800 damage, 2 kills here, first cast high caliber in the Caernarvon. A great game. So we'll get one more going here and just talk a little bit more about the changes to tier 8 that Wargaming has done. So Wargaming obviously during the 8.5 update changed a lot of tier 8s. There are a lot of tier 8s now that are much better than they were before, and a lot of them were tanks that weren't very good, like the Caernarvon here, the Centurion 1, T-32. There was a lot of other tanks also. I can't quite remember every single tank they buffed. That were, you know, not the best tanks. They were okay. They were nothing like horrific to play. A lot of them just weren't that good. Like, this tank was okay before. Like, it wasn't anything special, but it wasn't a horrible tank either. T-32, same thing. It's an okay tank. Some people like it, some people don't. But after this update, a lot of these has been changed. Same, Pershing as well. I actually really liked the Pershing when I played it. I find this really weird. A lot of people hate the American medium tank line, but I loved that line when I went up it. Before they even buffed it, I played the Pershing, and I did really well. It was like doing 3.5k damage like every single game, and had like a 5,000-6,000 WN8 in that tank. I don't know why I did so good in the Pershing, but I just did. That tank is actually much better now. It's like a second off the reload. It happened like twice now. I don't know why they had the reload in that tank to be so long in the first place. I mean, I'm glad they finally buffed it and gives it some of the love that it deserves. I'm not sure why it was ever like that in the first place. But yeah, they did buff that tank. And then there was also some tanks that were still good that they did buff. Like the Tiger 2, they buffed the Tiger 2. They also kind of nerfed it, but it's definitely a buff. They buffed the reload, I believe. I will have a review out on that tank. Probably either later today or tomorrow, possibly. I already have the footage for it. I just need to record the video and stuff. But yeah, that will be a review out as well. So yeah, there were a lot of changes to Tier 8, and of course, one of the big ones here, the Caernarvon. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. We'll just talk a little bit, commentate over this replay here for the rest of the video. But yeah, Caernarvon, I definitely recommend grinding up this line now. The Black Prince was already an amazing tank. That's a great tank, great DPM. Really now, the only not-so-good tank in this entire line, I would say, is the Tier 6. I don't really like the Tier 6. It's not the best tank. The Tier 6 is pretty bad, but it's just Tier 6, so it's nothing too big to worry about. And the Tier 9. All the other ones are great tanks out there. But yeah, the Tier 9, they really need to buff that tank. Maybe they'll buff that tank soon, since they've been buffing, since they've buffed this tank. Maybe they'll buff the rest of the line. And maybe the Tier 6 as well. Who knows, though? But yeah, so we are going to finish off these guys up here. Go for a premium shell. Not sure how that premium shell bounced. You can see the premium pin is good enough in this tank. I really don't want to use premium anymore because I'm sure, I'll have a video on this, by the way. I'm sure you guys know how Wargaming really messed up the credit system. The way they were testing it in the lower tiers just isn't the same for the higher tiers because of provisions and consumables cost like 20-30 times more, like a ridiculous amount more compared to costing like 200. They cost literally like 8,000 in these tiers, and I don't think they accounted for that, and so they nerfed the credit coefficient way too hard on all of the tanks, and now a lot of people are going in the negative in credits, like me as well. So basically now, I don't use my consumables anymore. I just don't use them. Otherwise, I'm going to go negative every game. Alright, enough talking about that, though. That's not what this video is about. I'll have a video out on the credit issue soon, hopefully today or tomorrow, to talk about that. And hopefully Wargaming does fix that in the next update, because that's a big issue. I mean, that's a really big issue. I'm not sure what went wrong. I guess, like I said. Anyway, enough about that. But yeah, we are going to win this battle, of course. 2.5k, okay game, you know, not as good as the other one, but still a quite decent game. Yeah, that's the Caernarvon I keep wanting to say the Caernarvon Action X, but this is just the plain Caernarvon. Great tank now, as you can see, 2.5k damage, shot 1 premium shell, or 2 premium shells, and we're down 1,000 credits. So yeah, that's pretty rough. Rip. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.